working drummer.
Now kick it.
This is the Working Drummer Podcast, serving up perspectives, experiences, and stories from ground-level working pros. Advice, tips, and secrets on how to build a career in the music business.
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Crouse, and of course you are listening to the podcast Working Drummer. I'm very excited to announce that this is our 100th episode, and we've got something fun and special in store for you. We tossed around some ideas about doing something fun and special for our 100th episode, and our friend Kevin Murphy here in Nashville pitched an idea that we thought sounded perfect. So what we have is a roundtable of Nashville drummers that is, for lack of a better term, a support group that has been created mostly in part by Kevin. Within this group, there are a range of ages as well as experiences, with players who are working with young acts out on the road and some who have decades of experience touring with well-established artists. In this group, we have Kevin Murphy, Ben Sesar, Billy Freeman, Tucker Wilson, Kyle Wilkerson, Keio Stroud, Wil Easterwood, Rob Mitchell, and Jeff Brown. Missing from this core group is Zack Stewart and Russ Whitman. Many of these names hopefully are familiar to you as they've been guests on the podcast in the past. And I just want to warn you now, if language and dark comedy is not your thing or you are easily offended, this might not be your thing. But if you are ready for some uncensored stuff, you will enjoy this. We all love vintage gear, and I bet you know someone that owns an old Les Paul or maybe a 56 Fender Strat that never leaves the home. And the question is, why do we love this gear? It looks cool, it gives you that warm, handcrafted tone, and often brings a unique vibe to the music. Of course, it has its limitations, and if we're talking drums, we run into problems like its fragility, limited tuning. So where am I going with this? Well, once again, I went back out to KHS America in Mount Juliet, Tennessee to spend some time with some vintage gear. I'm talking about the Sonar Vintage Series kit. I had seen and heard these at Summer NAMM, but now I had a little one-on-one with these beautiful drums. Some specs you should know that make these drums a modern vintage kit. The shells are that hand-selected premium German beech shell with rounded bearing edges. Keep in mind, this comes from the same forest of beechwood trees that were used in the manufacturing of Sonar drums from the 1960s. The recreated teardrop lugs are a big deal. They look and feel just like the original, but now it has Sonar's exclusive tune-safe system. In other words, they stay in tune. There are many beautiful finishes you can choose from, like the Vintage Pearl and my favorite, the Red Oyster. It looks, sounds, and feels like a vintage kit, but maintains the quality and reliability of a modern kit. You could really call this a modern vintage kit. So go to us.sonar.com to learn more about the Vintage Series and find a dealer near you. To find out more about this podcast and other recordings we've done, go to workingdrummer.net. You can find all of our episodes. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, and while you're there, leave a rating and a review. That helps us grow. Find us on all the social media like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So here you go. Let's do this. So I'm going to read a question, and you guys pick out the most appropriate or inappropriate answer for fill in the blank, answer the question, whatever it is. And then usually there's a judge that says, that's the best, that guy's got the best answer. Or maybe we can all just decide on that. So this is just to kind of, so for example, before Coldplay decided on the name Coldplay, they were called
spontaneous human combustion.
Leprosy.
Inappropriate yodeling. I'm going to go with that one.
They were just simply called AIDS.
AIDS.
Horse meat.
Justin Bieber.
A mime having a stroke.
You're just going to read all yours?
Yeah. Isn't that how you play? Is that not how it works?
This is how we're playing now. This is just,
Is there rules to it? Okay.
you pick one and you lay it in the thing. We're going to do it however. And if
I'm fired from the dungeon.
If you want new ones,
You like rules, you like safety.
if you don't like what you got,
Structure.
or you want to skip out on what you gave out, we got more here.
All right.
All right. Okay. So
Are we rolling?
Is that
Yeah.
establishing dominance?
Yeah.
that's a great name.
That was going to be my ringer, not anymore.
All right. Here's another one.
Fucked it up, Kevin.
I built up my hands by practicing rudiments on a pillow and a...
Piece of shit Christmas card with no money in it.
Just stop.
Is that recording? Are we,
What's the question?
we've started. All right.
I built up my hands by practicing rudiments on a pillow and a...
Lance Armstrong's missing testicle.
Seething with quiet resentment.
8 ounces of
That's
sweet
not a
Mexican
noun.
black tar heroin.
There you go.
There you go.
An egg that I have laid.
The Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, you pick a new one after
Sure. Take some more.
you. Okay. Just give me a shitload of them.
I'll take
This is do we call this the Cox cast?
Yeah.
The
Coxcast.
Cox pod?
Yeah.
Pod Cox?
All right.
This is like Mad Libs, but with
It totally
people.
is.
It is,
Right.
yeah, that's
But so Kevin, who is this group? What's the name? And who's everyone here?
God.
The very short version is I've known Rob for 13, 12, a long time. Many moons. And when I became friends with Ben a few years ago, I thought these two assholes need to meet each other. So I started gathering my different friends from different places that weren't already buddies and sticking them together because I wanted to build a little.
You're like the matchmaker.
Crew, yeah. And my friend Tom Bukovac refers to me as Cocksmith. He goes, "Hey, what's up, Cocksmith?" Calls me Cocksmith. so, oh man, you got your rent, Cocksmith? Because I rent a house from him, and he calls me Cocksmith, and that word is kind of Billy. I started calling Billy that on tour. So Billy ended up naming this crew that I had put together, and it started with wanting Ben and Rob to meet.
Yeah.
Because Rob's a dark soul, and Ben was adrift in an ocean in need of darkness. So I wanted to put those two guys
I needed
together.
a vessel to drift around in.
Yeah. So it started with really just befriending Ben and really just loving him and thinking he was an amazing dude and wanting him to bring him into my friends. And Rob was kind of the pinnacle of that. And so it was us three, and I forget the order, but we just started bringing in guys, and Bill came in, and then, Rob and I go out, and Rob knows Jeff, and he's like, "Oh, you really need to, have you met Jeff? Met Jeff Brown?" I was like, "I think I've met him one time at Forks or whatever. We run into each other." He's like, "Oh, well, let's go meet him." Yeah. So we go to Rose Pepper, and we meet him, and Jeff's sitting there with his wife, and within 30 seconds of meeting him, his wife, Vale, dumps a pitcher of margaritas.
Drunk wife. Who's the preferred state?
Yeah, she is just shit hammered. They've already had a couple of pitchers of Rita before Rob and I show up. She dumps a pitcher of margaritas on my balls, and then immediately starts rubbing them to get them dry. So within
my wife.
Yeah,
She actually should be here.
yeah. Vale should be in this room. So within 45 seconds of meeting her, and Jeff, that's going on. So we just started laughing. I'm like, well, he's a Cocksmith. So we just started at it. Keio had already, it was like, it started out with like Ben and Rob and Keio, brought in Billy, brought in Tuck, and now it's Rob Mitchell, then Sesar, Jeff Brown, Keio Stroud. Kyle's a recent addition because I didn't know Kyle at all. But
K-Styles.
The other guys. K-Styles. The other guys were like, and Ben toured with him, so Ben was like, "Hey, do you know Kyle from Maddie and Tay?" And I was like, "No, I don't know him, but cock him up, bring him in, So he, came in. Billy,
He's pretty fucked up.
he's,
I just want to let everybody know I have to leave at 11 because there's a sale at PacSun I have to get to.
60% off on Puka Shells.
Flat bills.
I toured with Billy. Dustin and Randy were on the Luke tour together, so that's where Billy and I met and hung out. Tucker and I toured together years ago, and we brought him in just for abuse. Really, It was just like the young guy. We were willing to bring in a young dude,
Right.
that was enough of a prick to kind of almost hold his own, but the abuse that this guy takes is unfathomable. If you read I've even said this to Ben, man, later on, when the older guys, like, when we die, the only stories he's going to tell aren't going to be about that time I played Madison Square Garden or that Royal Albert Hall. No, he's going to tell Cocksmith stories of all the abuse he got when his son was born. I don't know how many times the lineage of his son has been in question. I don't know how many times. And
It's either Rob's or Ben's,
or
Billy's,
or Kia,
or John Gardner's.
Could it be a combination?
Yeah.
And we brought in.
If he's dark and good with his money.
And that was Will.
That's the only time I'm going to speak in this entire thing.
We don't really call Wil Easterwood by his name anymore. Now, for us, he is Circus Bear.
Well, when we talk, when Will and I sit down and talk, we'll post him as that.
Yeah. Well, great.
You'll get his origin story of the Circus Bear.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, though, about this group is that you can't be offended, and I mean literally by any fucking thing. It's a contest just to see how low we can take the bar.
It's like one of those holodecks on Star Trek, like where you can just kind of go in and program your own scenario. It's like we've created this
safe space.
It's literally like the Klingon pain walk. Like you just have to. You literally just have to just tuck in and just wait for the blood to come.
Well, that actually leads me to acknowledging the Keio notwithstanding, the darkest of the Cocksmiths, who is not here. Mr. Russ Whitman.
Actually, Russ and Zack.
We're missing Zack Stewart and Russ Whitman.
The two darkest of the dark are,
and the funny thing
then there's Keio. He's next in line.
And the funny thing is that Russ, you look at Russ, and Russ is so out there. He's kind of like me. He's kind of loud and boisterous, so you kind of know what you're getting. So you know he's a dirtbag. Like there's no fooling yourself. But Zack sneaks in like a ninja in the night. Like he looks clean cut and sweet.
He'll slit your throat.
You bring home and like, Grandma, this is my friend Zack. And next thing you know, he's screwing her. Like he's an awful human being.
Russ introduced me to his wife like 2 weeks ago.
And she's awesome.
And she's an awful human being being married to it.
She apologized.
Right. She's guilty by association.
That's me too.
Yeah.
I know. I've met him, but I just wanted to apologize.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know your marriage is built on just a strong foundation when your wife is just apologizing.
Yeah.
Everyone you meet. Like, I'm sorry, this is a piece of shit.
I got 3 more of these because I can't let them go. Because I spent a lot of time.
Excellent.
No, we'll do them. We're here to serve.
Backline didn't provide a drum throne, so I used a
super soaker full of cat piss.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Holding down a child and farting all over him. That sounded like my last.
The wrath of Vladimir Putin.
There you go.
Kanye West.
The Care Bear stare.
Try out of this one. What was Buddy Rich's guilty pleasure?
Pooping in a laptop and closing it.
Lumberjack fantasies.
Balls.
That's one
Crystal
of my
meth.
That's actually my favorite. That and the Rush Limbaugh soft shitty body is like the best. The best answer to every question.
Punching a congressman in the face.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Yeah.
Buddy Rich's favorite pastime.
I'm going to say the South.
Expecting a burn and then vomiting on the floor.
Emotions.
Court-ordered rehab.
The pirate's life.
That was Gene Krupa.
All right. One more. If you want the gig, bring blank to the audition.
However much weed $20 can buy.
You just fucking, he nailed it. That's
There's no other.
Lunchables, TM.
Kel Chocula.
A middle-aged man on roller skates.
Your inner demons.
Yeah.
That's how I got my.
Are you reading?
Exactly.
Are you reading from the card?
No, that's just. I'm I'm just trying to get the gig, man.
No, under the circumstances, this is another one. I don't know how well, but this is a two-parter, so you need two cards. So I don't know, or you can make it up. So I don't know if this will work, but try this. The Modern Drummer Readers Poll Best Blank goes to blank.
Jim Riley.
Oh,
It's a two-parter.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
The Modern Drummer
there's a
Readers
card
Poll
here that
Best.
says-
What's the subject?
Chainsaws for hands.
Goes to.
Still Being a Virgin goes to Keanu Reeves.
And you can use your cards.
Oh wait, I forget that. Oh, it's
I don't like my cards anymore.
I think I would rather just make up my own rather than
Got the
use
worst
card.
card.
That's okay. Yeah, please.
So the Modern Drummer, what now? Say it again.
The Readers Poll Best.
If Jim Riley's going to be the second one, I guess the first one could be exactly what you'd expect.
I'm good luck editing this.
Even if you don't have it, why don't I just text Jim, have him come up and just fucking join, slide in with us.
For those who can't see us, everyone has left the room.
Yeah, we're done.
Keio, just do you have to take a
Where did Keio go?
He's out there taking a knee.
He's out there taking a phone call from somebody named,
Ashley.
Brittany!
Yeah.
Stabbed me with an eye.
Yeah.
6 eyes.
5 Lindsays. We need cards for all the Lindsays he knows.
Stay out there with the Cocksmiths. Did you see that? We have a Cocksmiths kit and logo. We got Ben a drum
You should
set
take a photo of
his
it
birthday.
for the kids.
And we have a logo head.
On that.
That's the Cocksmiths logo.
Cocksmiths logo.
Yeah, you'll
We
need to
have coffee mugs
digitize.
made with his picture laying down like this, like he's on a you're laying on the road case, but it looks like you're laying on Liberace's piano.
Oh, you said piano, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or piano. But yeah, we have our own coffee mugs. We're gonna put out some shirts.
Yeah, we should merchandise.
No, I've already decided I'm gonna Cocksmith some shirts. I'm just gonna sell them on my site. We'll fund Cocksmithery.
Hey, do you guys think you'd be friends if you were in a band together? Or do you think because we're drummers and we don't have to work together, we get along?
Ah, man.
Well, we're all in bands, so we all know how to get along already.
We'd all
We're
be in
all
the
in
crew.
bands already.
As long as I wasn't the
So we
tour
wait,
manager, I think yeah.
That's what I mean.
I can be in a band with anybody except for Tucker.
Okay.
And the abuse.
You see how
This whole thing is going to
You see what's happening.
Just gonna shit on Tucker Day. Nothing's not normal.
Russ and I made a video with Uli Salazar and our Ludwig one.
Yeah.
And I made a video with Russ, who's with Pearl, was talking to Uli, but I made it look like I just kind of snuck up on me. He's like, yeah, Uli, see, I'm thinking you got some room on your roster. And I even got Uli in on the Tucker bashing because he was like, yeah, man, I got one slot on my roster, man. I mean, I could make it happen, but anybody but Tucker. I sent it to him with a love.
That's awesome.
He cried.
I don't think I'd get along with Kyle, do you get along well with folks on the road? You play nice? You play nice, don't you?
Oh yeah.
No one knows that you're a dirtbag out there with Matty and Tay, do they?
I don't think so. No.
He's very nice out
He lives a
there.
lie.
Very nice.
Well, we all have to.
Yeah.
To some degree. We
Yeah.
all have to. Hey,
Yeah.
good morning.
My boss knows that he knows I'm a total shitbag, and I think he just puts up with it. At least for now.
He kind of is too.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's kind of rough around the edges himself. But he just kind of I think he just lets me get away with it. He's just like, that's okay. He's a flaming shit pile.
If you guys could go back and give advice to your 14-year-old self, what would you say?
That'd be last year for me.
So go back.
Go to law school? I don't know.
What was that?
Go to law school?
I think I would do invest in Google in 1998.
Yeah.
That would be my.
Yeah, that's a little back to the future-ish.
It'd be like
maybe that's the.
Or you were talking about more like the path.
Oh.
I'd go back and be breastfed.
Go back.
Yeah. This comes up a lot.
If you just say thank you, you're too old.
14-year-old Ben.
I just feel like the potential is lost. Is just it tortures me every day. What I could have been.
What the?
I don't know. We're gonna put some pictures of this room.
I'm very regretful. Wait, was that too? Was that the bar? Was I just just making sure? Like everybody got all quiet. I quieted the Cocksmiths.
I'm gonna see what those guys said.
What would you say
to my 14-year-old self? No, and don't buy any FUBU. It didn't do you any favors when you moved to Nashville and you were on the country gigs. Nobody knew what it meant or cared, and people who did really didn't want to hire you. But no, just honestly, I would be just patience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty impatient. Like really, it's driving me crazy that Ben hasn't raised his cymbals and asked me to do it a couple days ago.
I'm gonna raise them up while he's.
I need boom stands. I don't have.
I need Ben.
I don't have. I have the girth. I have the girth, but not the length.
You do. Kyle, what about you, man?
That's a McHugh hand-me-down.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
I don't know. Well, I think just like one thing for me is, I mean, like just like I'm lying to Keio, you have to just be patient in town. Just because, I mean, like once you move, I mean, like there's a lot of people that come into town who are just like, yeah, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna just get all these gigs, I'm gonna blah blah blah, and like before you realize it, like you have $300 in your account, and it's like the second winter that you're here, and
you
you're
have
just
$300 in your account.
Oh no, well,
yeah. Can I get a loan?
well, not now, but I mean, well, yeah, I'm like, well, my second winter in town. I mean, like you kind of move to town, and most people have all this money saved up, and which thank God my parents are, the good people like that they are and stuff, and. Like it's about like that second year in town. I know. I know. I know. You gotta calm down.
Calm yourself.
Now the pressure.
I know this is the one thing that everybody gives me a lot of shit for. It's just my speech sometimes, especially Ben.
Yeah.
He just reams me all the time. That's fine.
We have to expose. Everybody's weaknesses. And you can't be in the
I'm pretty bad.
I had the worst stutter as a kid. And it went away sometime, I don't even remember. I had the god-awful worst stutter. And I wouldn't even talk in public.
Did you get kicked to a mule?
No, a horse, but not a mule.
Okay.
But when I became friends with Kyle, I obviously noticed it. And I never wanted to say anything because I never liked it when somebody pointed it out when I was a kid. And I was like, okay, it's just going to be like an unspoken thing. I'm cool with it. You just have to take a breath. And then he got added to this text thread, and then immediately it was like, you stuttering stupid fuck. So the elephant in the room has been pointed out. I've known Kyle for 5, 6 years.
Stuttering piece of shit.
Oh, that's right. That was his introduction.
I've known Kyle for 6 years, and no one that I know has ever said a word. And the moment he gets dropped in the thread,
I think it was part of the introduction. Hey guys, please welcome this stuttering piece of shit. I'm pretty sure that's how I met Kyle Walker. That works. You know what? I'll say this before. I mean, I'm sure you're working your way around and finish up Kyle, but man, there's something very beautiful to being in a place like everybody now is like, either needs a safe space or bitching about their safe space or whatever. There's like this is a no safe. There's something very beautiful about like, man, you're going to get busted up in here.
I think it's all safe. I think it's totally. I mean,
there's safety to the unsafety.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes it like this is your home. Like, yeah, these guys are going to fucking bust on my sweaty bitch tits in that picture because boom, there they are.
Oh yeah.
Get to the gym.
Right. Well, I mean, like it's kind of cool to have a group of people like this because, I mean, like being here or if you are in New York City or out in LA and stuff, I mean, like this business is most of the time like really shitty. I mean, like you will get shitted on half the time, and
but they'll do it behind your back and stuff.
Oh right,
it's not authentic.
As a kind of a sideman or hired gun or whatever, a lot of the roles that drummers play, we have to behave a certain way. I mean, even though you, like Kevin, like your artist, you guys are similar in a lot of ways. He's your boss.
Sure.
So it's like there's still that balance, but you guys can kind of do your thing, and you can probably bitch about your boss and talk about things that you need to get out. Because your spouse or your significant other is just probably sick and tired of hearing your shit.
Well, and everybody in here, we range from. I mean, we have the full gambit from dudes that are Will plays pretty consistently in town. He goes out with Trick Pony occasionally. He goes out, and got a baby artist, or like some of us have, like, works way all the way over to Ben, who's been on the gig for 17 years with like a big swinging, a big heavy artist, and so it runs the gamut, Really so does. we can bitch about the guy that just fired us, or the guy that just used somebody else on the record, or the guy that or
paid you $20
or ranging from pretty minuscule problems that Ben had an issue on like the 500th stadium show or shed show he's done. We range. It's pretty wide spectrum.
Do you guys talk shop? I mean, you talk.
Oh yeah.
Serious stuff.
Oh yeah, sure we do.
Oh yeah, we talk. We're geeks.
Nice.
We're like, we talk about, especially when Keio gets in the room when he comes in. Yeah. This guy's always like got a project. He's always drilling holes in some shit, or re-wrapping something, or tearing it apart, or Chrome.
The Chrome is his new food.
It's his new. No. We talk. We go hard down the geek path.
Yeah.
Like drummers do.
Not as much as you might think, though. Yeah. It's not that. 97% of the time.
No, I'm surprised.
It's more serious. It's more serious stuff like, hey, I'm thinking about purchasing, like, I'm thinking about putting a home studio in. Who has one? What I need to do?
Yeah.
I'm about to drop $10,000. Like, who do you talk to about it? It's like, it's that kind of thing, and it lasts for about 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden, it changes.
Somebody gets photoshopped.
Somebody photos.
Next thing you know, there's a Nazi general holding a lightsaber menorah. But in the middle of those, you get, like, Keio and I are right now trying to find a way to drop $10K on our studios, and Ben has a nice rig here, so we'll ask about them, and Jeff has a nice rig at his house, and Billy's got, so we're all, we can go like, what? Circus Bear is an engineer, so we can go, hey man, what's the good interface? So we do talk about it, and like this arm, I know for a fucking fact that Ben didn't do that. I'm looking at this arm of this rack that's come over and it's chopped off and it's holding just his 12-inch tom, and I'm like, that's Keio Stroud. That's fucking Keio. I know it.
It's a signature.
I know he came over here and he was like, oh man, dude, stop doing it. I'll fix it. And 20 minutes later, he dug through his box of shit we stole from Chris McHugh. And he jumped out. And put that tom where Ben could get to it. And Ben was like, dude, that was great. Now I'm going to write my symbol. We do work it out. And Rob and I, I got to move up my drum set at home to make room for Rob's for a MIPS rehearsal. And like we're always working on stuff and design and stuff. So we do shop talk. Okay. We do like ask what heads and what symbols and stuff, but we're not kidding. It really does turn into a photoshopped, stock picture about 10 minutes.
Like one thing, like I must say too, is kind of being somewhat younger, just like Tucker and Will, like in the group. I mean, just to have, just like that minute 10-minute window you may have of like everybody's serious attention spans.
Yeah.
Like all these resources, like all these people are, especially like super valuable to us. Just because, me, Tucker, and Will, we're playing for, quote unquote, like baby acts still like coming up. But just like in terms of, oh, cool. Well, like management said this about this, or like the girls want to do this.
What's real?
Right? Yeah, totally.
So
and then followed by fuck you at the end of it.
Yeah,
the advice is always followed up with
which usually comes from Tucker.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So pretty much to have like all this resource, and then you do get a Photoshop in a picture half the time, but
sure.
No,
it's nice.
It's great.
To tap into, like if you have like a tech guru in your neighborhood, that's there for your whatever you need. Like you've got that, and that's great. And how possible do you? And I'm not the personality of the group, but how possible do you think this is in other towns? Like now from Columbus, I'm from Columbus. There's a drumming community there. It's smaller than this. It's probably this right here.
We're a microcosm of. There's a much bigger drumming community or music community in Nashville.
You're right.
But I don't know if there's a faction like this. Just sort of naturally occurred. It wasn't premeditated or anything.
And this was also not about drums per se. I mean, everybody in this room can play drums.
Yeah.
For sure. And no one in here is remotely bad at it.
Yeah.
So so that's cool, and we can talk about that. But I wanted them to hang out, not for drumming, because I love Rob and I love these. I was like, these two guys.
It's easy to get isolated. Like it's easy to come home off the road and just isolate or be in town and working, and you just it's easy for me anyway. I kind of boxed myself in. I stayed home and I just never had any friends, so it just started as friends, and that's really what it. I mean, drumming is sort of the byproduct of it, but it's just it's people guys who are like-minded, kind of bonding. It's just friends.
I think people generally want. I know I do, and I'm pretty. I can handle being on my alone self for long periods of time. But I think everybody to a certain level and to get to a certain degree, they crave a certain sense of community, and whatever the common bond is, it's kind of like you said, the byproduct of the drums is. We all need, whether it's making fun of each other or finding a funny article and bonding, whatever it is, it's and there may be other guys in town that do it. I mean, the Facebook drummers page on Facebook, that's another way to do it. It can be, it has its ridiculous moments at times, but like people need that, and it's like, and we actually have a great, like, look at the drummers jam,
Oh yeah.
We have a great community. I mean, you don't see the bass players and keyboard players and the singers and the songwriters in town.
Well, there's a guitar jam. I'm not.
Oh, it would never happen. It would just be a huge. It would look like Pigpen from the Peanuts. It would just be 80 of those guys. You
Chris Nixon would be there by himself.
You know what? If there was a guitar player jam, I've known Chris long enough. We all know Chris long enough to know this. He wouldn't want to be there either. Chris wants to play guitar for the drummer jam.
Yeah.
Trust me, if there's a guitar jam, he's not going. He's going to be at home watching Star Wars with his puppies and his wife.
And also, like with our thing, there's no sense of propriety. Like we don't have to be like in communities in Nashville when people are networking. Everyone you have to be on your game, say the right things, try to fit in.
You can't hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah,
you can't even be like straight up with somebody on like the drummers forums and shit. If they're just like, hey, what do you think of this? Well, you know what I like? I like Ben and Rob and Billy. Fuck Billy. Fucking guy plays like Garibaldi and Caliuta. I want him to come over and be like, I don't know, dude. I don't think you really didn't land that. I was telling somebody the other day, Ben, like 2 months after we met, we were on tour opening up for Brad, and I had one of those nights where ultimately out in the field it was fine, but I didn't feel good, and I didn't play well, and I didn't feel like in, and he knew, and already we become good enough friends. When I walked off, he was like, "Buddy, Buddy." But that's there. We can be ourselves. And I actually last night I called Sutter to say Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah, and I knew he'd done his holiday thing, and I missed calling him. We were talking, and I was like, man, I loved that picture because he had the Island of Misfit Toys. We had Cocksmiths here at Ben's house because there's a few of us that didn't have anywhere to go.
And Christmas at Jeff's.
And Sutter did the same thing in L.A. So it goes to your question, like, you look in there and it's like Dave Illich and Briggs and those guys are just like, oh, well, they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think people find their tribes and they find the people that they make their tribes, they find where that membrane is where they can push out against it. Like, if there's somebody that, and we know plenty of people that we adore and they're great friends that may not, they may not come into this and be kind of allow us to be as free as we are. And we have a ton of other friends that are just as tight with us, like Buda and those guys that fit right in, but just like they don't want to be on the text thread at 3 a.m.
Yeah, right. Oh no, I totally get it. Different temperaments, but
they just close. We just don't.
No, I get it because like Ben, you were saying, there's a social aspect to each one of us, and like Keio, you're the only one I know that like goes out all the time.
Yeah.
It depends on where you are in your personality and where you are in life too. And sometimes it's like when I'm home, I don't want to go anywhere. I mean, the podcast is a good excuse for me to like hang out with people and get to know people. and it's worked. So I feel like this has been that thing for you guys. And so you do those family things together, like Thanksgiving and stuff like that.
And, well, plus I feel like, pretty much like all these friendships are not forced, because you have a lot of people who move to town who
have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like they may hit you up for coffee or just like whatever, and like they try to force their. Well, I mean, like you say, like networking, but I mean, just in my opinion, I mean, like I don't want to network with anybody. I want to make lifelong like relationships and friends, and like everybody in here. I don't think like one relationship was forced at all. Like, oh man, dude, we get hanging all the time.
None of it's like that.
Tucker.
Oh, Tucker, yeah. But I mean, like, the first time like I met Ben, fully, we toured together this past year, and I mean, I've seen just a bunch of people on tours to be like, oh man, come on, oh man, like what kind of drums do you do? I mean, you're just like, holy, okay, but I feel like I probably said. With like a handful of words to Ben over the first like few weeks.
Well, it took that long to get the words out.
Jesus. That was a great one.
I couldn't help it.
I think what you're trying to say is this is not Nashville Gig Finder.
Right. But I mean, like after like a certain period of time, and I mean, like me and Ben have a great rapport, and I mean, I don't think Ben thought that I was. Yeah, thanks. I mean, like I was just like up on him the whole time. I mean, like just asking, oh man, what kind of heads are you? I mean, like there comes the point where it's like, man, dude, I don't give a shit about gear. Like, I just want to. Yeah. I mean, like, I just want to get to know you as a person. And like, if I enjoy being around you, it's great.
I literally don't know what kind of drums you play.
Yeah, exactly.
No fucking idea. I just realized that.
Yeah. Oh, that was one of the questions. We're going to go around and tell.
CB700.
I really only know Jeff and Billy's.
When I met Kyle, I think is when I met you. I think this was in California. Did we meet in California? Is that the first time we met?
Oh yeah.
First time we were meeting him, but
San Diego.
Yeah. But I just remember like walking up to him and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm fucked up. You want a drink?"
That's exactly what you said to me, Tim.
And then we, became buddies.
Yeah.
And he couldn't drink before his gig, so he watched me drink. So it was great. But it was funny. Yeah, I mean,
but afterwards we had a good
we did, but it was
we met. Keio and I met in the infield of the Indy 500 track.
Yes,
remember that?
Barely.
You were playing with some.
And I met you a long time ago. You came up to me at a festival, right? Wasn't that you?
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't.
Man, my favorite was
I was
Keio.
sort of a blob that day. I'm a blob on the road.
I had met Keio briefly a couple times, just like handshakes, hey, whatever, and never talked to him again. I showed up in Houston on a gig, and he was on stage playing. And so I'm like kind of backstage on the ramp watching. He turns around, and he's not playing at the time. He gets up, runs over, gives me a big hug. He's like, what's up, man? Oh, I got to go play. Runs back on stage and finishes the show. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I've seen him do that.
Usually they're friends ever since.
Well, while we're talking about Keio, I can tell you another story. There was one time I was playing at the stage on Broadway. My Sabian was just completely fucked. You walked in.
That's why you shouldn't play them.
Here we go. You walked in. You need a new cymbal? I'll get you one. And completely hooked me up. We kind of knew. I don't know at what stage I knew you, but
It sounds like that's a
Keio story.
Wait, did he show up with another Sabian symbol? Because that's not helping.
Or was it just a Sabian shirt?
He brought you a Sabian shirt with a gravy stick.
Don't get me started on that.
I don't have any Sabian shirts.
It was a bumper stick.
Anymore. Unfortunately. Yeah, they all went to Brittany.
How did I don't remember. I met Tucker. He was opening. You were Josh.
You and I met. I was eating John Henry's Beanie Weenies as he was pouring beer into him.
Florida. Oh shit!
That's the night that
you conceived. August.
Were you standing over them?
I was pushing his tip.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Let the boy watch.
Tucker was playing with Josh Thompson, and we played some Florida, shit hook festival down in nowhere. And I remember meeting him. We were doing shit during the day, meeting him, and later that night, I was standing on the side of the stage, and then this little blonde girl was next to me, and she was like, "I'm his wife," and I was like, "Oh, you're Sierra," and I met her. And months later, he was like, yeah, we're pregnant. We'd become friends by then. And he was like, yeah, we're pregnant. And he was like, matter of fact, it was the night we met. So August, August is like the little Lucky Charm, little Cocksmith.
And here's why I'm thankful for this little cadre of shit hooks is because I'm kind of the elder statesman because I've lived here for 30-something years. I've been here since '84, and Ben and
But he actually looks like the youngest person in the room.
Ben and Jeff have been here like since early. You were here 93?
93.
Yeah, and God knows how many times I was in the same room with them, or maybe within the same small square footage of a gig or wherever. And I just within the last 2 years, I've met these guys, which is like, and I'm not the most outgoing person,
right?
And neither really are any of us except for Kevin and Keio.
Man. Like I was here I kind of came to town with the gig. So when I moved here, we were playing 200 shows a year. So there isn't much time for
it's hard to
getting out.
Socialize.
And I'm not one of those go out. I don't like going out to Broadway or like drinking a whole lot or anything.
You don't grind?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you grind?
I don't grind.
Yeah,
but
Billy's
but
not
then
a grind.
you know,
he grinds
2
that
years
weed
into
down.
being here.
There goes my coffee.
I think that's what I'm saying is like a lot of us, I mean, because of who we are, I mean, there's like this common thread with very few exceptions where we're just not the most sociable people.
Yeah,
like we're
not being that kind of
total
person,
drunkies.
and I'll get out, before my girlfriend was living here every single day. I mean, meet someone for lunch or dinner, and I think everyone does, even,
That's
at least
what I
every
wanted.
day.
That's what I wanted
Speaking
from them.
Where's lunch today? Anybody?
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You need to take a nap, man.
I do.
But I think literally every day there's some amount of us doing something together.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is we really don't talk. We do talk about drums, and of course it comes up, and of course we'll be taking the piss out of somebody because they're self-promoting their fucking ass off, and it's annoying. Or we'll take the piss out of somebody that is like, that jackass on Instagram that's like, Buddy Rich, I can play anything Buddy Rich. We'll talk about assholes like that. And look at this delusional dude I found. We'll bust people up, and we'll bust each other, we'll bust ourselves. But the funny thing is, it ends up being therapy. Ben and I are like, yesterday or whatever, I was like, man, or 2 days ago, I was like, I have lost my voice. I can't play anymore. We'll talk about that. We talk about relationships. We talk about fucking kids. We really do like
fucking kids.
It really does. Well, no, that's just when
He's got the bleep button.
Keio and Tucker talk about that.
Do you want
I was going to say that
We don't use a lot of
got
commas.
kids. Is Keio?
Yeah.
Meet Tucker.
Sorry, what was your question?
Meet Tucker, Kevin, and Billy's got one on the way.
Billy's got one this week, probably.
Yeah,
Any minute now.
As a matter of fact, I need to make sure I have my phone on me.
If your kid was just born, oh my God, that was amazing.
Favorite Spinal Tap line?
It's hands down my favorite one.
He said speed.
I'm sorry. Well, it takes a little bit of setup.
He's getting a Kyle in a minute.
Well, it's the whole when they're sound checking and the girlfriend comes in and he gets on. Derek, not the bass player. What's his name? Derek Smalls.
Derek Smalls.
Derek Smalls. Like, hello, Janine, and he's like, smell the glove is here.
Hello, darling.
There's just something. Yeah, hello, where did you come from? The airport. That whole scene right there.
That's great.
It goes by so fast, but the brilliance of the timing of that. So I'll stop now.
I love when he's showing him the guitars. He's like, don't even look at it. No, don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Moving on.
That's a great one.
Yeah, just.
My favorite's not a line. It's but when they're playing at before the puppet show, and there's just one guy in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
I've recreated that picture for you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Just thumbs down from the audience.
And if you see somebody at a gig, especially somebody
You got to do it.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
You know what you're doing, and they're leaning slightly forward on their knee, and they're going like this.
We've all done it to people.
Wait, if we're doing scenarios, can I change mine? I love when they're at the Air Force Base and they show up and they're playing and everybody's holding their ears. What the fuck is this? Our first gig was like that with Brad. Literally, it was
Pennsylvania?
No, it was in Austin. No, it was in Amarillo, Texas. It was at some kind of debutante auction at an Elks Lodge. And
how much did you go for?
Nobody. It was some kind of weird, yeah. And the ceiling height was like 7 feet, and it was like fluorescent.
So Brad was fine.
Oh, it was, yeah. It was, and just we started playing, and and everybody was just like, "What is this shit?"
Well, I mean, there's so many stories of
I love that.
It was so Spinal Tap. Like we got lost on the way to the stage.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Oh yeah.
The great thing about that movie
Not
is
an
they took actual things that happened to bands. Like we were talking about somebody brought up an article, I think it was Gene, about when Bev Bevan was playing and briefly when he played in Black Sabbath, it was like, oh yeah, the whole Stonehenge thing was taken from that, except it was the reverse. They built this huge thing. They couldn't even get in the Coliseum. They had to leave it on the side of the road. But all those things, like the dude getting caught in the pond, that happened to Yes. Like all those things, they cherry-picked from actual things that weren't apocryphal. They were real.
All the great movies that like that and like Almost Famous and stuff like the airplane thing, that was Heart, I think. It was Heart. Was that the band it was in? Like the airplane.
Even the drummer had
I'm
one
gay.
line. Yeah. The only line the drummer had in the whole damn movie.
We're gonna make it.
What was your favorite? Let's keep doing the speed. What was your favorite line?
I've only seen the movie once.
I'm with Keio.
And of course it goes to 11. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But I do like that scene. I remember the funny thing about it is I remember people like just building it up. And when I finally saw it, it was funny. Like some things aren't funny when people go, "Oh man,
You gotta see it.
It's like Anchorman. It's like everybody else has their they do a funnier version of Anchorman, and then when you see Anchorman, you're like, okay. Right. But this was actually still.
Well, what's probably funnier for Anchorman is if you're a weather guy at like a Louisville or Lexington station, and you watch Anchorman, you're probably like, I know pompous asses like Ron.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas we watch Spinal Tap, and we're like, yep, that's it.
Okay, so that being
Still
said,
relevant.
I encourage you all to watch the campaign again. And watch it because
I want to watch that again.
I made my 11 and 14-year-old watch it with all the language.
Good for you.
My wife's like, why did we? I said, it's just so poignant. That I'm getting off. Well, let me just try something else. Favorite Buddy Rich line?
Clams.
I think he said this. You motherfuckers are sucking all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My favorite one is the when he's complaining about the facial hair, and he says something to the effect like, "It looks like a House of David baseball team." I remember that being on a cassette.
Yeah.
Or maybe on a CD. A friend of mine was playing it for the first time, and I think I was drinking like Coke or something.
So
literally
transcribed it.
just Coke out all over the dash of my buddy's car.
I've never heard that.
It's fully transcribed now.
Yeah,
I know.
Scripted.
I remember getting faxes of it. Somebody drew.
It should hang in the Louvre. It's not amazing.
It's
it
perfect.
should really. It should have it, or in the Musicians Hall of Fame.
I don't think I have a favorite line from that. I think the whole I think the whole thing is high art because he was a raging son of a bitch. Everybody knows it.
There are multiple ones. There are multiple.
Oh sure, sure.
I've heard
But the thing about him is he was so it's kind of the proof of like the proof of how this works. If you're that good, cock it up. You'll get away with it because people are like, it's just Buddy. I bet if he walked in the room and he wasn't that amazing at at playing drums, you'd just be like, who's this little prick that's just an asshole to everybody? But
that's like 90%.
But I never met him, so he might have been to his inner circle. You see him on Carson, and you're like, oh man, they look fun.
Yeah.
They must be. They love each other. So he was obviously cantankerous in certain situations, but he was so good that people were like, oh, that's just Buddy. Isn't this great?
Yeah.
But if you heard somebody else that wasn't on that level having that same tantrum, you'd be like, fuck you.
But we watch videos and we're like, we completely forget that he was such a prick to these people because we're just like, this is amazing. We got lost in that.
And you know what? If I'm playing in that band and I'm one of those horn players on top of the food chain on trumpet and world's best drummers, I got to put up with a little bit of bullshit to get paid real well and travel the world and play that shit. I'd probably put up with it.
Well, the guys that recorded it were the ones
shave my beard.
or you hear people talk it back. And you're like,
Well, let me play host for a second. Let me proffer this question. Who would you rather play for? Buddy Rich, on any instrument, besides drums, obviously. Buddy Rich, or be one of James Brown's drummers?
Ooh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, please do.
No, that's
You just
good.
cocked it.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather be. I think I'd rather be one of James Brown's drummers
too.
and take the hit. I know he'd dock me. I know it wouldn't make a goddamn penny.
I
Got you. All night long. He'd be hitting me all night long. Yeah. He'd hit me all night.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make a penny, but I think I would take that.
would, I've seen him in action as a kid, and I would probably take my chances with Buddy.
See, I don't know. I think they're both
I
terrifying.
saw him fire an engineer when I was a kid. Have you ever told you guys this story? Probably not. Okay. Anyway, I'll go a little bit. So my dad's a musician.
You told me this. Your dad was there, right?
Yeah.
You told me.
And my dad's, I'd beg him. He had to go to the studio where James was to do something. I was begging him, let me go. I want to go. That's right. So we get there. Long story short, we get there. The band's just getting sounds, but it's killing. They're doing their thing. James Brown comes in. Fuck it. It's fuck it. You recording that? The guy goes, no. He goes, fire. Get the fuck out. I was a kid, maybe 10, and I just realized. And I remember my dad on the way home, he was like, not till your mother would happen. Not till your mother happened. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I have this long-standing theory that when you're really great at something, that energy has to come from somewhere else in you. That something else, whatever you're great at, something else is equally deficient. Because you had to route the power, and it's a weak concept, and I haven't fully unboxed it. But I've always kind of worked under that assumption. So you look at guys like Buddy Richard, James Brown, anybody that's on this like whole other level. Something's just trash. Something's just beat all to hell.
Yeah.
What's Ben's?
Watch me clean.
Yeah. Have you watched me try to be social?
You watch this.
No, I get it. No, I understand it. It's
hold a
always-
conversation.
That team that has all their shit together.
Flirt with women.
That plays.
He's sitting right over there.
Yeah.
Travis McNabb.
Yes.
God, that son of a bitch.
I love.
I was standing there at the NDJ the other night, standing there talking to Christy, absolutely falling in love with her all over again.
Because she's amazing.
And watching him play, and watching her watch him, and I was like,
everything's right.
They probably have their, and Travis, if you're listening to this, I want to be you when I grow up. And I told her that the other night. But I was just like, that's it. This is what I've wanted. Like, she's awesome. He's awesome.
Still in
they
love.
Look amazing. Still in love. And he's up there playing a song that she requested.
Yeah.
That she loved. And I was just sitting there going,
I'm up there drunk, stumbling over myself. Playing
I'm up there just
jackass. Like a fucking potato on James.
And I was like, that's it. That's what I aspire to.
Yeah. His shoes have more style than I've ever had in my entire life. I love Christy too.
She's awesome.
There should be more Christys in the world.
Yeah, Christy
McNabb.
She could do a clinic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I got 3 more questions for you.
All right.
If you weren't playing drums, what would you do?
Professional
Sleeping on some girl's couch.
Penthouse photographer.
Yeah.
I'd be a mortician.
Most likely.
Wow.
You guys know that story.
Wow.
Too.
I know that story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have an honest that isn't funny. I would either be building houses because I like the mechanics of it,
Yeah.
or I'd be a chef.
Yeah. Chef.
Well,
I was a radio DJ before I started doing the drum thing. So I can do that, but if I had it to do all over again, I'd probably become a pilot.
Oh.
Commercial pilot.
There you go.
it works.
Air Force One.
I always wanted to write for like
What would you be,
like
Kyle?
The Simpsons or like
What would you be,
like
buddy?
now, like every
You
day
could
I
have
open
done
up.
that.
Every day I open up like ClickHole. I'm just like I want to do like there's probably no money in it, but just being able to create something that
I think there
somebody
is-
reads
there
in
is
5
money.
minutes.
Rob wants
It
to
thinks
run
it's
the
real.
end of the
Yeah.
internet. Rob wants to run the end of the internet.
I know I don't want that.
He's found it multiple times.
You should be a writer. You should be a writer on a comedy.
So you know the oatmeal?
Sitting in a room coming up with jokes.
Right. I love his work. Listening to him talk or reading his interviews, I want to push him down a cliff because he's so annoying. But the guy's brilliant. He's very funny.
I think
love
there's
his work.
creativity is a premium on it,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people with money that need creative people in their life,
Yeah.
and they'll pay handsomely for it. We're just retarded with business. So we don't know how to make that happen.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to Maddie the other day, and Ben and I talked about this. I'm, once I get over this, I am, 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 in the midst of a battle with our Internal Revenue Service. When that is over, I'm going to open up something like I won't duke it out with coffee. Might have coffee. Probably not going to duke it out with the barista parlors and the doses.
And you're a partner in a hot sauce.
I own part of a hot sauce company, Mad Hatter Foods, and that's cool. But I think I'm going to get like Ben and I talked about opening up a little food joint or a little hang joint. In a perfect world, I don't have to drive downtown or to Germantown to find a place where like Billy and a bass player and a keyboard player are just fucking off on a Thursday night when he's home, and you can get a decent bowl of food and there's cool music playing or whatever, and it's a nice hang and there aren't assholes there. Like I'm gonna build that place somehow. Yeah.
And Billy and I talked about that last week. Like Dallas has that.
Yeah.
And a lot of places have that because they have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like this is such a music business town that comes first.
Well, there are always little places. Like even Sutter last night on the phone was like, "Man, we got to come out here for NAMM," and I couldn't. But he was like, "Oh yeah, the Tiki joint right down the street from my house." Like there's little places where the dudes will go. Like you call Redmond right now. We're like, "Where are you going tomorrow night when you're in LA?" You'd be like, "I'm going down to the Tiki Hut because there's jazz." Like there's always these little spots. You know what I mean? And like, and it's
you can do a separate podcast with him just doing all the different drummers.
It's gonna be a round table. But it's only gonna be it's not going to be there.
Yeah. But if you're like, hey, if you ask somebody in LA, where are you going? They don't go, oh, I'm going to the Troubadour, or I'm going to they might go, I'm popping by the Rainbow Room, or whatever, just for a picture or something. But the places you know of, the name joints in any town, that's not where the real dudes go hang out anyway.
I know.
They go to this like hole in the wall. Well, this town needs more holes in the wall that aren't downtown or in East Nashville, so I'm gonna
that aren't hot spots.
I'm gonna pick somewhere on the suburbs. It's gonna be harder to survive, but I think there's a lot of people like where I live, kind of over in Donaldson. They're in a decent fucking cup of coffee within 10 minutes, but maybe I'll build a place where there is, and there isn't a place to go see like some cool music.
We need that.
I think I'll do that.
Well, this is. I got two more questions for you, and this might have been your answer. So you're cut off. What do we need more of?
Or what do we need less of?
Damn it, that's my next question.
Was that the next question? Okay. What do we need more of? Geez.
I think we need
public transportation. What's that?
As drummers.
Oh, as drummers.
Let's go.
I think we need more brutal honesty.
There it is.
Absolutely. We need more love for just the art of it, and more just pure, simple love of music, not love of success.
Or fame.
Yeah, or fame, or notoriety, or just more, just stripped down love of the art, regardless. Yeah. Unconditional love.
Yeah. We talked about what would you change when you're 14. I think people now have the focus of Ben's gig or Kevin's gig when they're 14.
Only.
That never occurred to me.
You think American Idol and things like that?
And the internet and just,
and things are easy now. Are they?
They're, I mean, at that age, for me, it's like I had Modern Drummer. There was a little bit of internet going on, but like not like it is now. But you look at Modern Drummer, and that's who you look up to. But my focus was playing music. Playing music as much as you can, with as many different styles as you can. Doesn't really matter how much you're getting paid. Just And when I got to the point where I made $30,000 in a year, I felt like, holy shit, I'm doing awesome. And I was working 5 or 6 nights a week, to make that much.
Kyle, do you agree?
Oh yeah, totally. I think that has a lot to do with all the younger players coming into town too. I think, especially like in LA or New York or here or whatever. I think we honestly just need this new, just like younger group of people just to come in and be more genuine about just a lot of things.
And willing to struggle. More willingness to suffer.
Right. So, whenever I seriously moved to town, that $300 thing, was not a joke. My second year in town, it always seems like that second winter that you move here, it's like all your money runs out, and then you don't have a part-time job or whatever else is going on. I seriously had $300 in my account my second winter here, and I was just like, holy shit, how am I going to pay this rent?
A lot of people give up there too.
Right.
It weeds out the weaker people.
Yeah.
And if you understand that, and if you just kind of just power through it, and you're an actual like genuine person instead of just bunning up to Ben. It's like, oh Ben, how can I be just like you, and how can I get your gig? I'm just like, well, Ben already has that gig. Ben's been on that gig for 18 years, and guess what? He's probably not going to call you to come sub in if Brad Paisley needs a sub drummer.
Yeah,
that's a horrifying.
He's going to call one of us, and we're all going to turn him down.
I'll be dumb enough to do it.
Yeah,
but people just. I mean, what we need more of is for people to be honest with themselves, honest with your craft, honest with where you are, honest with being like a genuine person. When you meet someone, meet the person. Don't meet what you want from them. You know what I mean? I think that that was a big thing for me when I moved to town. Because obviously I didn't meet Ben and Rob until later years of being here. But I remember wanting to meet Shannon Forrest and wanting to meet Chris McHugh and wanting to meet Eddie Bears and wanting to meet these guys and Greg Morrow. And until when I saw those guys, and I was like, oh hey man, like, what sticks do you play? They were cool to me, but there was still this weird thing. But when I met them, and it was like, especially after being here for a couple of years, and then was like, oh hey man, like I just saw, so and so the other day, and we were talking about you, and they were like, and they would say, oh yeah man, that's funny. The other day I was talking about you, and then the genuine relationships started happening, and then honestly, genuine work started happening. I mean, it may have been from those guys, but it seemed like once I stopped trying to be a drummer, trying to be a businessman, trying to be this thing, and just became myself, everything started to work out better. So I think people need, I think that's what we need more of. It's being genuine and being true to the craft, man. Like, and being true to the business, which means it's gonna get shitty before it gets better.
Do you think some of these guys, these established drummers, when we first come to town, are so mired in fake bullshit that when they see a young player with some integrity and honesty, it's probably welcoming?
Why do you think I made this group? It's exactly that. Will plays in town. Makes a solid living playing in town. Sometimes he's fucking playing bass, but you know what he doesn't do? Doesn't give a shit what drum company I endorse. When I was like, hey, I'm jumping over to Ludwig, I'm going to play this stuff. He was like, oh man, cool, you should get a blank. But like, he's never gurmed.
Yeah,
he was always just cool, and he's honest with himself. As if anything, he's too self-deprecating. He's a better drummer than he presents himself as being, But the reason I want to have coffee with him, the reason Kyle was welcome in, the reason Tucker was brought in, the reason these younger dudes, because Ben and I are, Ben, Rob, and I are the kind of oldest guys here. The reason the younger dudes are welcome in this, and some others aren't, is because they're really busy telling everybody about their new drum endorsement that they're really just paying the same thing they're paying at Forks, but it's a big deal to them. And talking about that is a big deal to them, and getting their feelings hurt when someone's being honest with them, if anyone ever is, which very few people are. Those people, they're not welcome in my little circle.
Well, it goes back to what Ben was saying, like being honest with your craft, and it's like being more dedicated to being creative and not. Well, that's my other question. What do we need less of?
Soul tone cymbals.
You know what?
Our sponsors.
No, that'll be edited. I will say I know I talk a lot, but I'll get out of the way. But this has been bothering me a lot. What we need less of is people that think they are the apex educator and information giver and authority on the subject. I don't know how many times I've seen, and this guy, that Instagram guy we've been clowning on lately. He's P Styles or whatever. He's a perfect example of delusion. But even less than nuts, less than fully delusional, is just a solid 90% of the people that I see at all. They're like giving these little lessons, and they're like, and you're like, or they're talking about how they're experts. And this isn't just drummers. People that own businesses in this town are like, the businesses are like, let me help you out. Motherfucker, you played a real gig for 2 months. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. You're not an expert at shit. And the new drummer, you've been in town for 2 years, and you've got your, like, what you think is a deal is basically what Gary will give you at Forks. And, like, you've got you're convincing people to follow you because you're writing all the right hashtags. So you're getting these big followers, and somehow they think you're an authority. But you aren't, and you're making things worse. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that where everyone is an authority. So then you have to weed through it, and you go, oh, wow, well, here's a guy that's actually, like, teaching. And those guys they got like 1,000 followers, and then you see this other clown that is just bullshit.
So that exists. So real teachers teaching real stuff, you believe exists?
I think it exists, and I think that you can actually find it. You know what? I shared a thing that I saw Keio share, and I haven't really hung out with Wes a whole lot, but Wes Little did a thing at Pacing.
Oh, that was great.
And there's a little clip of him that, like, I don't even know if he's on Instagram or how many followers he has, but, like, this little clip of him at Pacing talking about, he's talking while he's playing, and he's moving the beat around. He's moving the feel a little bit, adding some grace notes, adding some lift and some bounce to it, swinging it, straightening it out. And he's talking about it, and I reposted it. I was like, this is where it's at. Stop listening to the guy showing you that church lick, because that's bullshit. It's going to get you fired. Yeah. Listen to this guy. Yeah. Then I saw another clip of Matt Billingsley where he's talking about how 20 milliseconds off, when you're playing a loop for Taylor in a stadium, if you're 20 milliseconds off that loop, 400 feet away, it sounds like shit. Yeah. You got to be on. So people are like, I can play that Taylor gig. That's nothing. Bullshit. You can play that gig. I've watched you play. No, you can't.
No. I know what you're saying, because a lot of times we spend so much time and energy picking apart the shit that we hate. It's like Mr. Burns. I know what I hate, and I don't hate this.
As the Rolling Stones killed.
Exactly. And I think that's the other thing. I'm going to answer my own damn question. It's like, that's what I feel like we need less of. Is I know it's good, especially within a safe group, to just like bitch about, I'm so sick and tired of this shit, I'm tired of that. But it's like, really, how do we refocus on the things that we want other people to
promote the shit that's good?
Well, there's so much information. There's so that would be in a grander scale kind of answer my question is like I feel like I'm bombarded everything, whether it's news or drum stuff. It's like when I think Ben and I have talked about this before we were kids, like just pouring over album credits, you would see a name like Roger Hawkins or Bernard Purdie. It's like, you didn't know, like I thought Roger Hawkins was an old black dude. Right. And then I picked up the Modern Drummer with J-Mo and Butch Trucks on the cover, and there's this doughy looking white dude with an afro and Coke bottle glasses, and I'm like, that's the motherfucker that played on Staples. It's like, and there's something about having those realizations, like discovering things on your own, and now everything is so foisted upon us. All these, whether it's these drum teachers that are trying to call themselves educators, it's like, I want my own path. I want to figure out my own way to figure something out. And I feel like I have too many options at times. There's no there's something about having that disconnect. Yeah. And finding that path to the right information, which is a beautiful, like, kind of normal, natural, organic thing. It's like, that's a lot. I get so bummed out when I turn on, Facebook or whatever it is, and I just see all these dudes, and they're all great, but it's like I'm just not getting anything from it. It's like taking a radio dial and just going back and up and down. Yeah. Or that thing I posted yesterday was like all the hits of Billy Joel played at once. That's what it sounds like. It's just a cacophony, and it's like, I want less information.
Do you think we're going to hit a point?
Or maybe a better filter.
Well, the thing is that as consumers and as people, if you want to, any other business you go into, you study, right? So like if you want to be a lawyer, you study. There's formalities that you study. You do research, right?
And you have to pass the bar.
And exactly. Right. And I think for the problem we have is there's so much information out that people don't go and do research.
And there's no filter.
They basically Wikipedia, or however the hell you pronounce it, they do that, and that's how they get their information. Yeah. And so the same thing happens with music and drumming, is that we see people like, there's no reason why someone playing a cover song, should get 3, 4, 10 million views or likes on a thing, because they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything original.
But they are.
and that's the thing. It's like
that's the thing. So what are we fighting? I mean, like what? Yeah. We're fighting enough about it, but that's the thing.
I think I'm gonna add some advice to it.
But that's the issue, though. It's like the problem is this, though. The general public. So like, just say, I'm just gonna say, Honeybee, right? The Tom Petty tune, right? So say there's some person playing this song, a cover song, playing through the track on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. It gets 15 million views, and because they do not have the the original track to take the drums out, they're having to play it exactly like what's on there. If not, you'll hear the flam, right?
Right.
Now the people who are liking this and this is inspiring and all this shit, they have no idea that it's Steve Ferroni on the track. And that's the problem that I have with it.
Or if they do, they don't care.
It's like, and it's like, that's cool that this person is, if they're providing a gateway for you to find something else or to discover who he is, Steve Ferroni is one thing. But the problem is, those people don't mention it. They don't say, they go, hey, this is me playing this track by Tom Petty. Yeah. They don't say, hey, this is me playing this track by Tom Petty that Steve Ferroni originally played drums on.
Right.
That's the problem I have with that. And and so I think that we all need to, and I say all of us because as the community and people want to be musicians and want to get better, is that you need to do proper research, not surface stuff. Every day I'm bad about it, but I'll YouTube every day and find stuff. And if I find like those clips of Matt and Wes and those guys doing like original stuff, I'll post it. I mean, there's very little of me doing that, and I'm okay with it because I don't like doing it. But I love sharing things like that are original and people giving honest advice. Mm-hmm. They've done it, they've seen it. You know what I mean? Those things. I'm not gonna repost someone playing a cover. Yeah. Just not gonna do it. Now, if it's a video of Steve Ferroni playing Honeybee,
people are only gonna get so far if they're willing to accept that is what they're gonna, doing their research. I kind of have a problem with that, though, saying, because people want to learn how to cop a style, and that you're gonna sound that way if you're doing that. Like, I grew up loving country music, and then I loved Dream Theater, and then I really got into jazz music, and then but and I know Rob and Ben and Kevin grew up where you had that forced period where if you really dug a band, then you got their album, and you had to wait a year until you got the next one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you had that year for that music to become a part of you. And now people don't have that. They arrived at the way that they played after years of soaking in tons of their favorite records. Well, now people grow up and they're able to click on YouTube and go here and here and here and get a little piece of this and this. And
all
this.
The knowledge is fragmented.
Add to that too.
Nothing is really soaked in.
I think that the other reason that some older dudes, and this is why it sounds like we're like, get off my lawn, but there's a reason that I am so critical, and I will be less salty and actually offer some advice and some legitimate explanation. I wasn't enabled, so I had to really judge whether or not I was doing something that was worth a shit. Whereas now, my advice to people would be, don't believe your own hype. Because it's real easy to post something on Instagram or something and go like, I got 500 views and 500 people liked it, and I must be amazing. It's really easy to that's why I'm always like, explain how shitty what I'm doing is, because I'm looking at it like, this is terrible, but this is what I'm working on. I'm showing what I'm working on. But a lot of people are out there, they're getting so much, even that delusional guy we were looking at, there are so many people. Their comments are like, yeah, dude, and amazing, and you're the best, and bro. And that happens so much. People are so busy, and they're starting on the right foot. They want to support, and they want to encourage, and they want to be positive. Yeah. And I understand I understand wanting to do that. But at some point, if you don't surround yourself with people, they're going to bust your balls. Or not even bust your balls like we do, but just be like, yeah, man, that was good. It's flaming. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not kidding. I'm watching you. You didn't do that well. Mm-hmm. Well, if I tell Billy he didn't do something well, he trusts me. He's going to go like, which part? I'm going to tell him which part. And the next time he does it, he's going to light me up. So many people are believing their own bullshit. you're the best. And it's basically like mini versions of the readers poll. Where
They're not used to anything. There was a young dude last year that posted a video of him working on a Toto song, and people were like, all those things. And one person came in and said, okay, technically, if you want to do this is how Carl played the hi-hat, and you want to make sure you do it this way. And he was like, man, why are you saying this? I'm just trying to do...
You quit being mean. And everyone came to his defense.
I was at Buddha's when I went over just to see the loft, his studio, and I sat down, and I had all week long. Rob and I had been listening to Babylon Sisters, like constantly. And I sat down, I was doing it. He was like, no. I was like, I know, I suck at it. And he was like, no, you'll suck at it less if you do that quarter note stomp that Purdie does. So that lift is on that middle partial of the triplet. Right. That's how it feels good. I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. I didn't get my fucking feelings.
What were you going to say? Well, I mean, like it's just like, in my opinion, I don't have children yet, but I mean, you think like growing up with some friends, it's always kind of like the parents who just always say to their kids, "Oh, you're doing great, blah blah blah," and I mean, it's really great to have some support like that, but at the same time, I think it's kind of a detriment to what's trying to be accomplished. And plus, the fact, I think we've all had teachers. Well, thank God, I was blessed with some teachers that actually shot it to me straight, especially in college. I have a degree in music and performance and stuff, and my teacher reamed. Thanks. My teacher reamed my ass. If I didn't. Not my tempo. Yeah. He would just read me, be like, "Oh, cool. You didn't practice this week?" Or oh no, it sounds terrible. No, just leave your lesson after 10 minutes. Be like, "Cool. See you next week." And I was just like,
"You're way behind." Good luck.
And I was just like, well, now looking back, I'm just like, man, I'm really glad that I didn't have just teachers who are just like, "Oh man, you're doing such a great job."
Yeah. It's like Ed Soph.
It sounds like shit.
You hear stories about Soph and the kind of shit that he says to his kids. Yeah. And that is where some of the best drummers come from, in Texas.
So my maybe third or fourth show touring with Kevin. This is 4 years ago. I remember walking off stage. They played right after us. He was like, "Man, it was great. You played great, but you're rushing the backbeat here or there." I was like, "Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. I'll fix that." And then the next show, he was like, "You fixed it." Yeah. It's great.
He was pushing the ends of his phrases. He was playing great. He'd get to the end of his phrase and he'd shove through it. And I was like, "Dude, you're fucking awesome, except for this one thing. Yeah. Be awesome. Stop doing that."
The other night, Keio broke my balls about playing "Will It Go Round in Circles," which had to happen because I listened. I went earlier in the day. I kind of thought we'd play that song in this in the band I was doing, and I went and listened to the record and got into that groove. I was like, okay, this is great. I've got this. And I just brushed up on it for a minute, and I felt good, felt great, and got into the gig. And they played it a totally different way. But I stuck to I was just like, no, this is how I did it 2 hours ago. And it was not happening. It wasn't happening.
And you knew that. You
at all. I knew it as we were playing it, but I was like, I'm just going to stick to it. I'm just going to...
2 hours later at dinner, he was like, it just didn't feel right. And Keio just went, because you fucking played it wrong. You're doing the album version.
Yeah.
You're playing the live version. It's 4 on the floor, dude.
He started out going, man, I thought I liked everything you did tonight. But man, you guys did that song. That was not good. That was awful. He crushed me.
I said, man, you were swinging like a fucking barn.
Yeah. And that hurt because I know swing. I can't even play straight really.
The thing is, you were aware of it, and
I was aware.
If I had been there, I probably would have been aware of it. And it's like, but knowing, being able, that's I think one of the most important skills. We talk about having too much information and all this stuff that younger drummers are coming up with, more concerned with their networking and all that stuff. Is like I'm hearing and seeing a lack of listening, self-critical listening as well as listening, reading your room and your environment. When sometimes I see younger players, it's just like, look what I can do, or I'm going to apply all the skills that I have to this one artist's music, and that's going to be it. Instead of motherfucker, you need to that girl that's playing the guitar over there, her song might be shitty, but she's paying you, watch her right arm. if that's what her tempo is, that's where it needs to be.
Totally.
You know?
The rhythm watching ain't right.
Yeah, rhythm watching ain't
exactly.
right.
It ain't paying you shit.
You know, and having I had a couple of gigs this year, man, big ones that I was looking forward to doing, and I completely shit the bed because I was unprepared. I was busy. I didn't have time to really learn the songs. I've been listening to them for years, but I wasn't ready to do the show. And in the second we started playing, it sounded terrible. Had shitty backline kit. And you can make all those excuses that you want. But in that moment, when it comes down to the years of playing, you should still be ready to do it. And I completely shit the bed. And I beat myself up about it, but I knew it, and I used it as a teaching moment for myself, and moved on. And it's like, you have to. And I don't see a lot of that. Well, I don't see a lot of younger guys playing, but when I see videos and stuff like that, people playing in bands and doing these videos, there's just everything that I can throw at a moment to apply to it. There's not like a self.
Well, I don't think they have people like here's the thing: if you're having a crisis, of your stylistic, where you're wondering what you're doing, or you're worrying about your job, or you're worrying about your relevance as a drummer, or even just regular stuff. If you have a group of people that have been honest with you, you've sat across the table where Keio's been like, "Nah, man, that wasn't it, Ben. I know you're one of the best damn drummers. You're one of the best damn drummers I'm ever going to meet, but that moment, nah, that didn't happen." If you have somebody that's willing to be honest with you about that, or no, Rob, yeah, I feel you, dog. But that way, if you have those people, at another time when you're like, "Man, Ben, this is what I've been working on," and you're playing him, or he sees you, he'll go, "No, that was great." You can trust him, and then you can really gauge, like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm being a little too hard on myself because somebody that I know was going to call bullshit on me if I played bad. I know Billy would say, "Yeah, that was rough," but Billy said it was good. Okay, cool. Now I can reset.
You want to keep growing. You want to keep.
Yeah. Sure. It's a matter of trusting the source of praise or criticism. That's the thing. It's like, it's great when people say you're great, but who's the source? Is it your friends? Is it your mom? Of course, like, people love you. They're going to tell you how. Like, it's kind of going back to not believing your own hype, but don't believe. You can believe what you want, but make sure the source is credible, and that's whether it's positive or negative criticism. Yeah.
Well, it's just information. You know what I mean? It's like it's basically, you did something, you got some feedback. You can take it as positive or not positive, what the fuck that is. Anyway, you can do that, or you can just take it as information, check the source, adjust if you need to. And and that works. And the other thing is, though, is like, me and Ben, of course, we're buddies, and I wouldn't just bust people's balls about stuff like that. Unless you asked me to. One, you didn't ask me to, I just did it. But
and then we laughed about it. That's the other thing. I didn't get all in his face or anything.
You get a little bit hurt about it,
but we laughed. Well, it hurt but I knew it.
Yeah, but the other thing too is, though, it's like being able to take advice from your buddies, really busting your balls, really helps when your boss has to say something to you and you don't get butthurt about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're on a gig. And the singer says, "Hey man, this is too fast." It's the same tempo. You know how to treat that. You know how to go, "Oh yeah, man, cool. Well, let's play it back, or let's change the tempo." Blah blah blah. You know how to also deal with those situations as opposed to blowing up on them or taking what they say to heart, and then you shit the bed when it's time to change it. You know what I mean? And they go, "Oh man, the guy I hired it's not playing very well." I remember doing that. I remember I did a gig. I'll say I did a little big town gig, and I could take things, but then I couldn't take things because I was so wrapped up in it and so serious that when they needed me to do something, I took it all personal. And when it was time for me to play and do what they want me to do, I could obviously do it. I didn't do it because I was so. I was so wrapped up in my head that I just completely shit the bed, and they found themselves a new drummer.
That oversensitivity will do you in.
Because your boss isn't going to be as nice.
I got a perfect example. I know I've been talking a lot, but I have a perfect example. The last show of my year with Randy, and I have like one show a month till April. So I'm off. He's in Australia. with his wife doing Christmas. But the last show, he this is my artist. He shows up with a new song that he wants us to learn the last show because he wants to get a vibe and see what he's going to write over the winter and stuff. And if you take things personally, you're not going to handle this well because Randy is like a lot of artists where they're not even either Randy knows, but some don't know, but they either don't have the time or the inclination to coddle you or explain something. So I start playing along with the groove, and he doesn't stop and go like, hey man, I was thinking something different for the kid.
Right.
Fuck that. He turns around and he starts stomping the floor where he wants my foot to be. Well, I don't take that personally. It's his song.
Yeah.
He wants it to feel different. I felt it as this like, I was trying to be kind of funkier or whatever, for lack of a better term, and he wanted it straighter and deeper and behind. And he was actually stomping the floor behind the beat from where he was playing. It was so obvious that he wanted me to pull it back, but I wasn't. He didn't do it gently or tenderly. We've known each other for 5 years. He knew he wasn't going to hurt my feelings. He just turned around and just started stomping the floor. And I started just hitting my bass drum when his foot hit the floor. And then he smiled at
that he can do that with you.
Yeah, he's not going to hurt my feelings,
What were you going to say about that too?
Well, it was about what do we need less of? I feel that I'll use Rich as an example.
Okay.
He's a great, incredible drummer. He does his thing, his brand. But there's so many guys that do exactly what he does.
They're trying
to be him.
Yeah.
Even with the drum set, the gear, everything, and they show up to whatever gig it is, and they try and do him. And it's a lack of originality.
There's already a him.
There's already a him. But there's so many guys with the same cymbal setup, the same cymbals crash, the ozone crash over here, and they show up and try and do the twirly kind of flashy thing on a gig that doesn't need it. And
But the problem is they want to be rich now. They
don't want to put the work in that he did.
I'll say this,
has been here for 20 years.
There's a bunch of dudes. Rich.
But that's not even because the gig needs it. That's Rich. When Rich does all that shit, when he's real when he's on. Everything sounds like when he plays a shaker. It sounds fucking awesome. And he's like, he's a performer when he does it too. He's not just back there playing a shaker. He's, very grandiose about the whole thing,
I use him as an example because he's one of the more popular guys in this town. Sure. But, there's a lot of... Will likes Eddie Bears. I do too.
Likes?
That's a good guy to like.
Here's a restraining order.
I'm one text message away.
But you know what's funny though, man? Rich, I'll say this, because I think they all kind of moved here roughly the same time, but differently. But Rich, Jim, Ben, Sean Paddock, and a couple of those dudes that are around the same age and moved around the same time. The beauty of those dudes is they are all individuals. Like you see those guys, and they're all successful because they are individuals and they're confident. And it's kind of cool to see that, and it'd be really nice to see that again. You know what I mean? Where and Trey Gray is also part of that. I remember.
I still haven't met him.
I think everybody in this group's individual too.
But they are. But but it's like that. I remember seeing. When I moved to town 16 years ago. I remember seeing these dudes, and Pat McDonald's also part of that. I'm sorry to keep adding names to it. But the fun thing was all these dudes moved to town.
Fuck Pat, he's a quitter.
Suck it, Pat.
But, everybody moved to town, and they had their thing, they had their background, they had their differences, and they stuck to it, and... Now they're all the dudes. You know what I mean? And it's kind of cool to see that, and it'd be nice to see like a younger generation do that same thing, and even my generation.
Those guys, they came in town where you had to kind of it was tooth, fang, and claw. It always is, but like you had to survive on your wits. There was no
social media.
There was no social media. You didn't like. The only person I've ever looked at that I've said, man, I want to play just like him is like Bernard Purdy. I wish I could play like that guy. Right. It's never going to happen. But now we have these guys that try to emulate Rich or try to emulate Ben or whoever. There's no I don't know. There's not that. You need to have that no. You shouldn't want to play like I want to do stuff that Ben does. But I don't want to play like him. I want to play like me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play.
I love you.
I hate my. Just for the record, Keio hates my playing.
I want my own voice.
If a writer or producer wants Ben Sesar, they're going to call him.
Exactly.
They'll call They'll call Eddie. They'll call.
Yeah, they're going to call,
they'll call Jerry Rowe or Miles. You know, it's like, but you want to have that voice. You want to have that touch and that feel and that sound. Like, man, I need Kevin to come play. He's the guy for this session. Right. Or Tucker.
But if there's something that you know that Kevin does that complements you and your personality, then you make that.
Your voice is your individuality. It's not your style. It's not your look. It's not your, however you are. Your true individualism is your touch and your inflection. We're not inventing new grooves or new notes or new ways to play drum tracks. What makes it
ways to playing it poorly?
Yeah. what makes it unique is just simply not what you play, but how you play. You know what I mean? No one talks about that.
I believe that when you get to know somebody, say you see them play first, and then you get to know them, you're like, yes, that's the person I thought they'd be, just by watching them play.
Of course, art imitates life,
and vice versa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask one more question because we're running close on time, but it's just one more Cards Against Humanity.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, this is the last one.
I hope I have some good fucking cards.
Lead singers like
auto-cannibalism.
Cannibalism.
Auto-cannibalism.
Self-loathing.
Self-loathing.
A lifetime of sadness.
Yes.
Hot cheese.
Pretending to care.
Tasteful side boob.
An endless stream of diarrhea.
I love that.
This one's for Keio, taking your shirt off.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that.
Your ex-wife.
If we could change that to drummers.
Okay.
And talking about Pat McDonald, getting married, having a few kids, buying some stuff, and retiring to Florida and dying. Sorry, Pat. Go
That's a good way to.
Hey, I'm going to end on that. Ben, Kevin, Billy, Keio, Tucker, Kyle, Will, Rob, and Jeff, thank you guys.
You're reading that.
Yeah,
Just so you know, we're all sitting right in front of his fucking face.
Right here.
We only became friends on Facebook yesterday, so I give him a little bit.
All right.
Kids' names after.
But
Shit, pass.
Take your cards and shove them up your ass.
Matt's sock is on inside out.
I gotta
so
go
take
piss.
it that he had a rough morning, so I'll let it slide.
No, that's a normal morning.
I've been staring at that for 20 minutes.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Who wants Hooters?
I had a great time hanging with those guys. I think that they let a little bit of the support group mentality come through. I think, as many of you know, it's just good to have that support group, that group of friends that you can confide in and have fun and laugh and stuff. So thanks again to Kevin Murphy for putting all that together for me, and thanks to every one of those guys for taking the time to do that. So once again, I want to thank Mike Jackson for his tireless efforts since we first thought of this podcast over 2 years ago. We're talking October, November of 2014. I came to him and he was ready to do it. And I'm so thankful to have him and his help and his friendship. In the beginning of 2016, we brought on Zach Albetta, and he has been nothing but a godsend for us, creativity and drummers and a community of people that I don't have access to, and I'm so thankful for his partnership and friendship too. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the different perspectives that he has been able to bring in. It's been awesome. It's been an awesome run. I appreciate everyone's listening, everyone's support over the last couple years, and I don't know what else to say. It's been such an awesome experience. I enjoy every interview. I enjoy this whole experience, and it's been a growing experience, and I've learned so much, and I feel very selfish about all the things that I learned from my talks, and I hope that you guys and girls are learning as much as I am. So again, thank you so much, and I hope to see you around. Bye-bye.